guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to a brand new Liverpool transfer news video, and we have a major update on the Jude Bellingham to Liverpool transfer saga because Jurgen Klopp himself has weighed in on the rumors and the reports, and also there is a large majority or a lot of Liverpool fans, let me say it like that, think that Liverpool really need to sign a midfielder this summer. Which camp do you fall into? Because Paul Merson, for example, said that Liverpool's transfer business it's not really good enough, and he has a worry for Jurgen Klopp's team next season. So first I want to present to you guys what Paul Merson said, then I will say my personal thoughts, and also we will hear from Jurgen Klopp himself and what he thinks about whether Liverpool need a midfielder, and also whether that midfielder should be Jude Bellingham, because he specifically mentioned him. So I'm really excited to present this video to you guys. So leave a like if you are enjoying these and subscribe. Paul Merson said that I worry for Liverpool in midfield. They are very reliant on Fabinho. And my personal feelings, yes, that's true that Fabinho is our best defensive midfielder, but we can play Jordan Henderson there, we can play James Milner there, even Thiago if it's really necessary. They are not as good as Fabinho when it comes to defending and defensive midfield role, because Fabinho is just the world's best defensive midfielder in my opinion. But I don't think Liverpool are short in that area, because Paul Merson himself said beyond Fabinho, Liverpool got Jordan Henderson, James Milner and Thiago really. I think they are just getting by there with that group. And that's not really good enough for a club like Liverpool. Wow, Merson. I mean, I respect him as a pundit quite a lot, but to say that Fabinho, Henderson, Thiago, these are world-class players and it's not good enough? I mean, what kind of midfielder is better than Thiago? What kind of midfielder is better than Henderson when it comes to on-the-pitch performance and leadership? And also, what kind of defensive midfielder is better than Fabinho? I mean, in their specific roles, Henderson, Thiago and Fabinho are all one of the best in the world. So to say they are not good enough for Liverpool, or these options are not good enough. Is he talking about an attacking midfielder then that Liverpool need to sign? I'm not sure, but we have Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones, Naby Keita, Fabio Carvalho. Give them a chance next season and see how they perform. Because Fabio Carvalho could score a lot of goals. Harvey Elliott looks insanely sharp in pre-season, and I'm really excited what he can do next season. And for Paul Merson continued, the fullbacks are creating and the forwards are scoring. You don't notice it so much, but it's not like it used to be. Liverpool's midfield used to be the key to it all. It was a well-oiled machine and that had everything and allowed the rest of the team to function. But Henderson is getting on now. Thiago for me is very inconsistent. Milner has been a warrior for them, but he's 36 years old and they have never been able to rely on Naby Keita. I mean, probably Paul Merson didn't really watch Liverpool last season because Henderson was very good for the large majority of the season, and we could actually, for the first time in his Liverpool career, rely on Naby Keita because he played the most games in his career, in his Liverpool career. James Milner is a brilliant utility player who, apart from probably striker and goalkeeper, he can play pretty much anywhere on the pitch. And I mean, Thiago, he was inconsistent in the first part of his Liverpool career because he got injured, and also because Liverpool had to play Fabinho and sometimes even Henderson at centre-back. So Thiago wasn't playing in a usual settled Liverpool midfield. But Thiago, this season that just finished, showed what a world-class player he was. And he was actually pretty consistent, Thiago. And yes, probably Liverpool are in the market for a centre midfielder right now, but Liverpool only signs the player who is the right fit for them. They have their very, very important transfer targets, and Liverpool are prepared to wait for the right player to become available on the market, because I'm pretty convinced Jude Bellingham is that kind of player. And also a German journalist said that Jude Bellingham is going to become a Liverpool player. He was a little bit sneaky though, because he didn't say when. He didn't say this summer or next summer. So that is a prediction that you can just throw out onto the internet. And of course, it might be true, because who knows, maybe next summer Liverpool will sign Jude Bellingham. And Paul Merson frankly said I think Liverpool are crying out for a midfield player. I don't think their midfield is strong enough. Now this is the big question for you guys. Do you agree with Merson or not? Let me know in the comments below. I certainly think, of course, if we could sign Jude Bellingham, it would be amazing. Liverpool would have just the strongest squad in the world. But right now, we still have one of the strongest squads in the world, and we still have enough in midfield. I think Liverpool's midfield is strong enough. Maybe if we get key injuries to Fabinho and Thiago and other players, then maybe Liverpool will be short. But that's a hypothetical. Liverpool have 8 or 9 really good midfielders and 3 or 4 world-class midfielders, and the others are young players who can develop and become world-class in 2, 3, 4 years. We will see and wait until, you know, Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones and Fabio Carvalho blossom and develop into the finished article. Right now they are a work in progress, obviously. Merson said Jude Bellingham is a great player and I think he would be a great signing. Yes, that's true. But now I want to present to you guys what actually Jurgen Klopp said, because I think this is fascinating how Jurgen Klopp is asked about, you know, the transfer talk among the Liverpool fan base. I think that's pretty brilliant that Jurgen Klopp actually responds to these kind of questions, because he wants to calm the fans and he wants to reassure them, even though he doesn't need to do that, but he wants to reassure them that Liverpool are on the right track and they know what they are doing. And if you aren't convinced after like 5 or 6 years of Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool know what they are doing, then I'm not sure what else Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp need to do, because they have won 6 trophies. And yes, it was painful to miss out on the Champions League final. It was painful to miss out on the Premier League trophy. But one midfielder alone doesn't fix that problem, and you can't guarantee, even if Liverpool would sign Jude Bellingham tomorrow, you can't guarantee that Liverpool would win the Champions League or the Premier League, because football doesn't work like that. And Jurgen Klopp said this about Jude Bellingham and the question that he was asked about the Liverpool links to Bellingham. He said, the first problem with the player is he's not on the market, he's not available, we can't sign him right now. And that's the only problem with that player. I love that. I love the sense of humor of Jurgen Klopp. I think he's brilliant. And Jurgen Klopp was asked, are Liverpool looking to do any business at all in midfield? And he said, no, I can say that. I don't think something will happen in midfield in the transfer market, but of course you never know. In football, you can't predict everything. If somebody comes to you and says, I want to go, then something might happen. But right now, if all Liverpool midfielders say they want to stay for the season, then Liverpool won't sign a midfielder. That's what Jurgen Klopp said. Nobody came to me yet, but if that happens, then we have to talk new and we have to see how things develop from there. Because of course, if you take a midfielder out of the Liverpool squad, then you have to bring somebody in to replace him. And even Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and Naby Keita, they are not expected to leave Liverpool. This will be a big season for Curtis Jones, who is 21 years old, for Harvey Elliott, who is 19 years old as well. And Jurgen Klopp said, if the situation stays like it is, then tell me why Liverpool would look to sign a midfield player. I do not understand. People told me about this discussion, and the last thing that would have crossed my mind is that we have to do this. I know all these things, that we don't score enough goals from midfield, this and that, but the fans are saying that and some pundits say that, but what do we want? This golden cow that is producing absolutely everything and milk as well, we can go through it. Where do you want to start? So Fabinho, Henderson, Thiago, Milner, Keita, Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott, Fabio Carvalho, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Now you tell me, what kind of players are we missing? One who is offensive, one in a 95 centimeters throw, arrives into the box to head the balls. Okay, apart from that, we have 3 players in the squad who can easily play as a number 6, which is the defensive midfield role. Fabinho, Henderson and Milner played it fine. Creativity, if we bring in a player just for that, we immediately make it more difficult for Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones and Fabio Carvalho. And this is what you have to understand. Liverpool don't want to make the midfield too big in the squad, because then you suppress the minutes and you reduce the minutes and playing time for the young players like Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones, Fabio Carvalho. Jurgen Klopp intentionally structures and builds his Liverpool squad so there is room for young players to come in and play a lot of games. I mean, Harvey Elliott started the Premier League season last season. He was the starting midfielder on the right hand side of Liverpool's midfield because he impressed Jurgen Klopp so much in pre-season, and if it wasn't for his injury against Leeds United, who knows, Harvey Elliott might have played 40 games last season. This will be a big season for Harvey Elliott. I think mentally he's even stronger than last season, and I think Jurgen Klopp will give a lot of playing time to Carvalho, Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott, Naby Keita as well, and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is an insurance policy. If Liverpool have a lot of injuries in midfield, then Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is there to step up and step in when needed. Jurgen Klopp said that these players, they all can play different positions as well. Curtis Jones can play a line higher. Harvey Elliott and Fabio Carvalho can play there too. They can play as a winger or as a false nine or as an attacking midfielder. We can play a different system as well, where we might only need 2 midfielders, but then all these guys can play as a number 10 in the new system. He's talking about the 4-2-3-1 formation. We already hinted that Liverpool might experiment and use that formation next season, and this is the clearest indication from Jurgen Klopp himself, the manager, that Liverpool will use this formation where you only have to have maybe Henderson and Fabinho in front of the back 4, and then you could have 4 attacking players, 1 out-and-out striker and the others wingers, attacking midfielders, all kinds of attacking players. And Jurgen Klopp said, so where is the need for a midfielder? I wait for the day when somebody comes to me and tells me why exactly. And of course, Jurgen Klopp said, of course I have faith in my young players, Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones, Fabio Carvalho. And we should not forget that last season in the first 4 games, Harvey Elliott was our best player. He was outstanding. Then he had a bad injury. He came back. He was high and then he was low. Normal for a young player, normal after a long injury. He looks sharp now and he's back, and like everybody, he needs a little bit of luck. Curtis Jones, what a player he is as well. Oxlade, he played the first part of the season quite a lot, and then in January he played different positions. Yes, he didn't play a lot after that, but remember how good he was. Fabio, you look at him and what he did at Fulham. Why should we bring a boy in and then tell him he's a midfielder? It makes no sense. You have to leave the doors open for the boys. I really don't understand the discussion. We always try to improve, and we can improve internally as well. They can put pressure on the more experienced guys for sure. By the way, Tyler Morton in training, he's incredible. He plays as a number 8 now. We don't force him to play as a controlling number 6 in a Premier League game. Like, he's training as a number 8, and it's like, wow, how good is that? There's really a lot of excitement for this situation from our side, and like I say, if you want guarantees, then you have to look somewhere else. We work a lot with expectations, and our starting point most of the time is very, very positive. So there it is. Jurgen Klopp himself, I think, calmed a lot of our fears that Liverpool have enough options in midfield. I didn't even mention Tyler Morton, who could have a big season. Last season was his breakthrough season, and now he's training as a number 8. So he's not training as a defensive midfielder anymore. He's training as a box-to-box midfielder, and we could use him as well in some games. I mean, he played brilliantly against, for example, AC Milan in the Champions League. I think that's a very, very good indication that he's also a young player who could develop and become a really, really good player. But of course, even after Jurgen Klopp said this, probably some Liverpool fans on Twitter and on social media will say that this is not good enough, Liverpool midfield, and Liverpool need multiple signings in midfield. Which camp do you stand on? Do you stand in? Do you fall into? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear it. I think Liverpool's midfield is good enough and strong enough. Of course, you can't legislate for an injury crisis in any particular area. If Liverpool have 3 centre-backs out injured, or 3 midfielders, or 4 midfielders out injured at the same time, then it will be tough. But Liverpool have so many players in midfield and in forward areas who can play in 5 or 6 different positions that I think Liverpool are much more equipped than ever before to handle any kind of injury crisis. And let's hope Liverpool will stay fit most of the season, most of the players will stay fit, and I think Jurgen Klopp knows what he's doing. He has won 6 trophies for Liverpool. I think you guys, the naysayers or the doubters, you should turn into believers and you should trust Jurgen Klopp. That's my message to any Liverpool fan who is doubting whether Liverpool's midfield is good enough or strong enough. I mean, if you only measure Liverpool's success in did we win the Premier League last season? No. Did we win the Champions League? No. Then if you say Liverpool is a failure, then you don't know how small margins are in football. If just 2 or 3 refereeing decisions are the correct ones against Manchester City, then I mean, when Man City played in their games, then Liverpool would have been champions. If Courtois doesn't have the best performance of his whole life and the best performance of any goalkeeper in any Champions League final since 1956, I think, was the first Champions League final, or 1960, something like that, then Liverpool would have been Champions League winners as well. Those are the small margins, and that's not because Liverpool didn't have a goal-scoring midfielder last season. Also, good luck to Neco Williams, who said this on his Twitter just a few minutes before I started making this video. 15 years at this special club, Liverpool FC. Thank you for everything. It's been an honor to play for this club and to play on the Jurgen Klopp, but I have now decided to take up a new challenge. I wish all the team and the staff the best of luck for the future, and of course always you will never walk alone. And he won the Premier League, the Club World Cup, the League Cup, and the FA Cup and the FA Youth Cup as well, so that is a pretty decent career. And he said, I will continue to support this great football club. Thank you, and never forget, you will never walk alone. And it's a shame that Neco Williams will not play for Liverpool anymore. I think he was a very talented player, but it's understandable. A young player who is good enough to play in the Premier League regularly, he wouldn't play a lot of games behind Trent Alexander-Arnold, who is just the best right back in the world, I think, right now. So I understand why he decided to leave, and good luck to him at Nottingham Forest. I think he will have a really interesting time there, and hopefully they can stay up in the Premier League, because then Neco Williams would have a great career in the Premier League. And Noah Whelan labelled Liverpool selling Neco Williams for 17 million to Nottingham Forest as amazing business. He said it's a testament for their academy, to their academy as well, for bringing a player like Williams through. It's what it's all about for an academy of Liverpool's size, getting these players out on loan, proving themselves, selling for a big profit. To generate that amount of money on a youth product is invaluable to the football club, and it just shows that they know what they are doing, and they know what they are doing is working. It's a win-win for the player and for the football club. Liverpool get a great fee, great business, and the player gets to go to a club with great history and exciting season ahead. Forest will want to stay in the Premier League, but if they do go down, they are building a good team for good money, which will give them a great chance of bouncing back, even if they get relegated. But I think they have a chance of staying up. So we will see how their season goes. And Jurgen Klopp also said that Liverpool have a room for improvement even after a great season that we had last season. We have space for improvement. It's not about how many games you can win, it's about how can we play, and you can always do better, and that's what we will try. And I'm really excited for the new season. Tomorrow it starts against Manchester United, and I will post my post-match reaction to that game as well. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed this, have a nice day, see you later, good night.